All right, well, welcome in Coach Musselman. Nate, you want to get us started, please?
As far as just for the red-white game, just kind of what are you looking for out of them, and just your thoughts on playing it again at Barnhill?
Yeah, Nate. I mean, we're excited to play in Barnhill. You know, it gives us a different environment than what we'll play in all season. So I think that's good. You know, we've obviously talked a little bit about the history of that building with our guys, history about who played in that building, the winning tradition in there. And then what we're looking for is, you know, we're looking for different combinations that might work well together, or maybe some combinations that don't work well together. But just still in an evaluation process. You know, the teams will be divided up, you know, kind of randomly. No first team against second team, nothing like that. We're still completely into the evaluation process with these guys.
Is it one where, like, at halftime, you might even switch some guys around?
There definitely can be some trades made at any point of the game.
Thanks.
Hutch?
Coach, I think when we talked to you a couple of weeks ago, y'all were dealing with quite a few injuries. How are y'all doing health-wise?
Yeah, Hutch, I mean, we're still a little bit banged up. You know, Jalen Williams a little bit limited. KK is close to being 100%, but still somewhat limited. You know, Kamani is now limited with a wrist. You know, I think, and then Trey Wade's out, you know, with not really a timetable, although, you know, when I say that, it's not going to linger, you know, into much of the regular season. But so that's kind of an injury update. We've had some physical practices, and our guys are really competing behind closed doors.
Curtis?
Hutch, did you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, Coach, you said you were also going to kind of adjust how y'all's practices were going to go and change things around. How has that gone? Do you feel like you've adjusted well to how your practices are going to go?
We have, Hutch. I mean, we went, you know, really, really competitive early on. Then we switched to a lot more execution and trying to do a little bit more teaching along with technique stuff. And then the last couple of days we've gotten back, just, you know, because we do have the red-white scrimmage, we've gotten back to some competitive stuff. And then we'll take, you know, we'll practice today and tomorrow, and then we'll take off Saturday with the football game. I want all of our guys to be at the football game, and with an 11 o'clock start, it makes it a little bit problematic to have a practice that day as well. So it'll give our guys, you know, Saturday to refresh their minds and their bodies, and then come back and compete, you know, Sunday afternoon.
Curtis?
Coach, we just got a chance to talk to Aldis, and now that you've had him for a few months, what growth have you seen in his game, and what role do you envision for him this season?
Yeah, he's done a great job for us. I mean, he's a multi-dimensional player. Curtis, he can play the 3. If we want to play small ball, he can play the 4. If we want him to, you know, if we wanted to play a bigger lineup, he can certainly play the off guard. So he's got great versatility, high basketball IQ player, can shoot the 3, really, really good in transition, good finisher around the rim, obviously being left-handed, a little bit unorthodox when people are trying to, you know, to guard him and so forth. Should be a really good defender, but I do think a lot of this stuff is new for him. I don't know what he said to you guys, but I think that there's a lot of stuff that's new to him as well. Maybe the pace of practice, maybe the demand of practice, maybe the execution of learning, you know, 3 different spots, all those things, you know, maybe not, but there is certainly somewhat of an adjustment for all of our new players walking into this system with some guys that do have some comfort with it.
And then I guess piggybacking off what you were saying there about the new guys getting acclimated, when you have a guy like a JD Note who was so good in that 6-man role last year, is that a guy that you consider, maybe starting early as these new guys get acclimated, or is it one of those situations where it's, if it ain't broke, don't fix it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that with every player at every level, I mean, you could take a Major League Baseball player, you could take an NBA player, you could take a college soccer player. I mean, everybody, when you work in the off season and you have a good year and then you back it up with having a great summer, I think everybody wants their roles to expand, or, I mean, that's just, it's human nature. Having said that, I mean, he was, in my mind, the best 6-man in the country, certainly in a league, recognized him in this league's as good as any league in the country. So I don't know why there would be many more guys that came off the bench and had a bigger impact than JD. So I think it puts our coaching staff at ease, knowing that a player accepted that role and thrived in that role. But I also think that, you do need to reward players that have, earned the right to be a starter. And right now, I mean, he's one of our best players. So, still a work in progress. It's still way too early to determine who's starting and who's not starting.
Thank you.
Bob?
Hey, Eric, how you doing?
What's up, Bob?
You guys played in Barnhill 2 years ago. Obviously, we're back in Walton last year. What made you decide to go back to Barnhill for the red-white game for the second time in 3 years?
Yeah, I just thought that, the environment was really, really cool. I think that there's, a section of our fan base that has been in there and remembers it and would like to get back in and see a basketball game in there. And then I think there's another group of our fans that have never seen a basketball game in there. And so they might have heard about it through a grandparent or a parent. And so I think that makes it cool and unique. And, look, we still have 2 exhibition games that'll be played in Bud Walton. So we're going to get, 80 minutes of play where we're familiar with the surroundings. I think it's, been well documented that, the 2 years I've been here that we don't practice much in Bud Walton. We have a beautiful practice site. I want to use all the baskets over here in our performance Eddie Sutton Performance Center. So I don't think that we're missing, the lighting or any of that stuff. I mean, it is what it is. I think it's a great environment for us to play in a unique place that we'll only be able to do one time, over the next 12 months. So I think it's good for our guys to play, with a different background as well than what we'll do all year.
Yeah, Mike said you guys will probably announce your exhibition games maybe shortly after this, but I know whoever you're playing, you're going to crush them if you want to. But how important is it with so many newcomers? How important are those exhibition games? Are they a little more important now than maybe they would have been, 10 years ago or something?
I mean, I think our guys are going to see, not now, but in a couple of weeks, all the upsets that have happened in exhibition games, and a lot of close games as well. I mean, there's certainly a lot of that aren't close, but we're going to, our belief is that secret scrimmages, because you have an option to do secret scrimmage, play other Division I schools, or to do exhibition against Division II school, or do an exhibition and raise funds for natural disaster type things. And so, for us, I don't really like the secret scrimmage. I did it at Nevada, and they were basically worthless, because then when we played in a real game, that was the first time we had been in uniform. You do the secret scrimmages with no fans. They might do segments of base. So it's not even it's a useless environment, in my opinion. And actually, I thought it hurt our teams at Nevada. And when I was an assistant coach at other programs, I thought the secret scrimmages didn't help, they hurt. Again, that's just one person's opinion, because they're really popular with other coaches. But I like our guys to play in front of fans and be in a game-like environment to get them ready, for the regular season.
And I agree, because that way we can cover them. You know, you got a lot of players that have played a lot of games in big arenas. I'm sorry.
I would have let you guys cover a secret scrimmage, although the NCAA wouldn't allow it. But, you know,
Yeah.
as far as we were, you guys could have come in.
Okay, well, I'll keep that in mind. But you know, you have a lot of older guys that played a lot of games in, you know, the ACC or different leagues. But how excited do you think some of these older guys are, like maybe DC or Chris Likes or whoever, because this is going to be their first experience playing in front of the Arkansas fans as Razorbacks?
No, I'll tell you, Bob, I think it's a group that's excited. I think we do have some guys that have played in some big environments, but I also think that not necessarily Sunday, but I think opening night, you know, I think there'll be some angst with some guys. I really do. I think that, you know, there'll be some nervous energy for a lot of the new guys, and sometimes that's good, and sometimes you got to temper it. But I think that, you know, the red-white game prepares us a little bit. We'll do a game-like day, meaning, you know, we'll do a walkthrough earlier in the day. We'll have a meal together. It'll be, you know, a little closer in time proximity than a normal day because of a 2:00 start. But I think it's good for all of our guys.
The guys you mentioned that Andrew asked you about, they're still a little banged up. Are all those guys going to miss the game, I assume? Like Kamani and KK and Wade, obviously, and is Jalen going to be able to play? Jalen Williams? I think Muss is frozen.
Great question. You got me back?
Yeah, we got you. Looks like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, but I don't know where you lost me, Bob. I'm not really sure what, you know, who exactly will play and who won't play at this time. Kamani's practiced, you know, every day, and today he's going to be held out. So I don't know what, you know, and then we also have the off day on Saturday, you know, for guys to heal up a little bit as well. Trey Wade will not play for sure. Hopeful that Jalen Williams will play a little bit. I'll probably limit his time as much as the training staff will. And then, you know, KK, you know, we would expect to be in uniform as well. I guess it's Trey Wade out, Kamani game day decision.
Okay, I might have a couple more, but I'll turn it back to Mike because I'm sure there's other people, of course.
Dudley?
When I talk to high school kids and the kids who've gotten out of the portal, they talk a lot about how specific you are about how they would play in your system and using analytics and all that. Talk about that factor in recruiting and how it seems to really, you know, play with kids.
Yeah, Dudley, I think that, you know, everything that we do here, we try to, you know, emulate the best, and the best is the NBA. You know, a big role that Clay Mosier has is he ran the analytics department for the LA Lakers. So when you can have someone on staff that ran an analytics department and was in charge of it for an NBA team, and then an NBA team like the Lakers organization, and then Hayes Myers did a lot of analytics for us at Nevada. My son Michael does a lot of analytics. Coach Ruda does analytics, and we have all these different formulas and different ideas that we kind of bring to the table from an analytics standpoint. You know, Mike Econom, same thing. He's a guy that, you know, was with us at Nevada, Texas A&M, came back. He adds another dimension to the analytics. But, you know, we use it with our current players. We use it in recruiting. And it's just a big part of what we believe in. The game's evolved from an analytics standpoint. And I've tried to study it myself, whether it's through articles, whether it's trying to pick somebody's brain like Billy Bean. I think that, you know, you've got to grow with the game, and analytics has become a huge part of the pro game, and it's slowly but surely making its way to the collegiate game.
You mentioned analytics. Obviously, what has been other factors that's allowed y'all to have so much success with top 100 kids and things like that?
I'm not, you know, I think that, you know, the one thing, Dudley, is just trying to develop a relationship is really, you know, important with whether you're talking about, you know, recruiting a transfer or recruiting, high school players. It's relationships, and a lot of programs, have assistant coaches in charge of, a certain player. I think it's my job to take the lead on all recruiting. And that's, it's time consuming. Last night, from the time I got in the car until about 9:45, I had very limited conversation with my wife or my daughter Mariah, but that comes with the job, and recruiting's 24 hours, 7 days a week. And, I think it always comes back to relationships, and then it always comes back to, other factors, style of play, what your program can provide, what happens when a player's done, what's his next step in his career and life look like. So I think there's a bunch of things, Dudley, that come into play. Awesome background too, by the way, Dudley.
Appreciate it.
Scotty.
Hey, Coach, I'm curious what's jumped out to you about Jackson, and, what kind of a role you might envision for him, if he continues to grow.
Yeah, Scotty, he keeps getting better. I mean, he, really truthfully should be an incoming freshman. He obviously reclassified up. A guy that we had great belief in when he was, coming out of high school. Really, really, really good shooter. Continues to evolve defensively, but he's got good length. He can rebound the ball for his position. He's no maintenance to coach. I mean, we've all really, really enjoyed coaching Jackson. He's trying to learn. He's bought in with 2 feet. He's a guy that can stretch the floor out for us, Scotty, and he can play 3 positions. So I think because he's learned our offense and done a good job of knowing 3 different spots, because he question. Any questions?
Kevin,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Hey, Mus, I got a couple here. You talked a little about some of the reasons why you chose Barnhill and wanted to get back in there. But the first time was your first taste of the Razorback fan base. Since that, you got the Central Arkansas games in Bud Walton, Kentucky comes to mind, where you really got the full hammer on the fan base. Last year, you missed it. How excited are you? How much is this going to play into what's on your mind going into this season with a lot of high expectations for this team and basically the support you're getting from the fan base?
Yeah, the fans have been, incredible from the first time, that we stepped foot on campus, and they continue to be awesome. I think we're under, 100 tickets or whatever left to sell out the building, which is, insane to think that we're in a 20,000 seat building and could be looking at a sellout. It's not, most people sell a lot of their tickets from the second week of October, to the first game. And we're quickly hitting a spot where we could be sold out before we even get to November 1. So it's been awesome. We got great fan support. I know our new players are really looking forward to their first fan experience on Sunday, and then obviously the 2 exhibitions, and then once we get to our first game against Mercer.
All right. My second question is about the Pro Hogs. Some of these guys played for you. Have you been able to keep an eye on Isaiah Joe, Moses Moody, and maybe some guys that can help embrace your program like Bobby Portis and Daniel Gafford? And based on what you've seen out of their play, how are you able to use that in recruiting when you talk to prospects?
Yeah, Kevin, I think for sure, obviously Bobby's, run to win a championship was incredible to watch. Our staff, we didn't coach him, but we certainly feel like he's part of the family, or we're part of his family, however you want to word it. And, it was great to have him at a football game. Daniel continues to play well. He continues to improve. Both guys that played for Coach Anderson, and he did a great job developing both of those guys. And, obviously Isaiah, watching him a ton. If I'm not watching live on the NBA packet, then I'll tape it and watch it at a later time. Same thing with Moses. I think I've watched every second of both of those guys so far through exhibition, and take great pride in that. And then, just waiting on Mason's next step, whether it's signing a 2-day or potentially playing for a EuroLeague team. I talked to Mason last night about his next step and what'll happen. And Jimmy Witt is going to end up, getting a G League tryout. He just got his deal solidified, or is in the process of finalizing that to get a G League tryout. So just, great pride in all the guys, whether we coached them or not. And I think you've got to use it in recruiting. I mean, there's a lot of success stories out there with former Razorback players.
Okay, is it breakfast burritos and Reese's for the kids this weekend, or one or the other?
You know what, Kevin, I'm glad you brought up Reese's. So Reese's is actually sponsoring, the red-white game. So not often do you get a sponsor for a red-white game. I brought these in. Unfortunately, Mike Kaywood decided that we were going to do this on Zoom. Otherwise, I was going to pass all these out to you guys individually. Each media member was going to get 3, but due to Mike, maybe I'll save them for you guys and pass them out on Sunday to everybody around 1:45. Look at Bob. Bob, I know that's why you got up, went into your kitchen. I
That's
saw
right.
you in the chair.
I got, these are sugar-free, so you could pass these out to the kids and help their teeth won't decay as much.
Mine's not sugar-free. Hey, Scotty, I went, my computer froze. Did I answer all your questions? I don't know where I cut off when you had asked about Jackson Robinson.
Yeah, you were on a good roll about Jackson. I was just wondering if you could maybe continue that thought that you had.
I don't know where you guys lost me, but obviously his ability to play 3 positions, his shooting, stretching the floor, create space for our dribble drivers, evolving as a defender. But with his length, he can cover a lot of ground on closeouts, and a guy that continues to get better, and probably a guy that has moved up in our rotation as we've gone along throughout our training camp.
Okay, Coach, appreciate your time. I know you gotta get down the practice floor. Thanks, guys, and be looking for that the release on the exhibition dates. Thanks.
See everybody at the football game, man.
I'll send out a breakdown shortly for transcriptions.
I said, Mike, so you'll be sending out that info on the exhibitions like a little later today?
Mere seconds.
Okay.
As
Okay.
soon as I can open up my email.
Okay, you're on the clock. These are really good. They taste just like Reese's, and they're sugar-free. So
That's what they say about Diet Coke, but that's not the case. Or Diet Dr. Pepper, or any of those diets. Oh, it tastes just like no. Sorry.
no, it doesn't have sugar in it though, so it's good for you.
But my dad's a diabetic, and sometimes he gets some sugar-free candy, and yeah, no, I'm not buying it.